We have some exciting news today from the EV world. It's all about the car behind us, the Lucid Air. And Dad, I think Tesla has met its match. This Lucid Air is going to kick Tesla's butt.
Tommy, no, you're wrong. In this video, we're going to let you know not only all about the new Lucid Air, but at the end, I'm going to tell you why Tesla is still the king of the electric mountain and why Lucid will not dethrone the reigning monarch.
So Dad, of course, we have to have a catchy headline to grab the Tesla fanboy attention.
No, I think it's true. I do. I think Tesla is still going to be the king. Well, but go ahead. Let's talk about the new Lucid Air and why you think this is going to outperform and outsell and out-Tesla.
So Lucid is a real company.
Yeah.
They do have a pretty cool looking factory in Casa Grande, Arizona. And
they're building a pretty cool looking factory in Casa Grande.
It's built. It's pretty much ready to go at this point. And the
is there anything in it?
I haven't seen pictures inside of it, but get this,
the big box.
The car is called the Lucid Air, and it is a sports sedan to rival vehicles like the Tesla Model X and the Porsche Taycan. It's going to be available starting spring of 2021. They're saying Q2, so wait till you hear some of the facts about this new model.
Before you get to that, the only fact I need to hear is that it's a sedan, and sedans are dead. So why is Lucid coming out with a sedan as their first vehicle? Shouldn't it be a crossover?
Because it has 1,080 horsepower. It'll do the quarter mile in 9.9 seconds according to Lucid. So far, the only electric sedan to break the 10-second mark. 0 to 60 in as little as 2.5 seconds, a top speed of 168. Now, of course, these are the best case figures, right, on the top end trim of the Lucid Air. But as far as I can tell, Dad, these figures are pretty much as impressive, and in some cases more impressive, than your fancy little Tesla Model S performance there.
Yeah, but that's because Tesla has yet to have its day in the sunlight, or in other words, Battery Day, which is coming up this month. And I have a sneaking suspicion that Elon won't be sitting on his hands, but instead he'll be unveiling the new 3-motor Tesla Model S Plaid, which actually is a real car that's been running around the Nürburgring setting records. And so, yeah, while Lucid may have its moment in the sun for the next couple of days, just wait till later this month when Tesla has its say.
All right, well, it's not all about performance numbers. Let's take a look at the range, and let's take a look at some of the battery technology. Now, Lucid has developed its own in-house battery for this vehicle, but get this, it has a 113 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which is only 13 kilowatt hours more than the Tesla Model S. And it will go up to 517 miles is what their EPA estimating this vehicle. And your Model S, the highest range Model S is rated at just over 400. So almost over 100 miles more, if these numbers are correct, on just 13 extra kilowatt hours. And that's partly due to its slippery aerodynamics, a drag coefficient of 0.21.
All right, let me jump ahead a little bit. Because, yeah, Lucid's put out some pretty impressive numbers, but the one that I think is the most impressive, of course, is this one, which is the Lucid Dream Edition, which is the first edition. Starts at $169,000, dude. You know, that's like $69,000 more than a current Model S.
Excuse me, that is incorrect.
It is not incorrect.
It is incorrect. This would compete with the Model S Performance,
which is like $112,000.
Which I think you'll find is not exactly poverty spec, is it? It's still a very expensive vehicle.
Right, but so let's say it's $60,000 more. Okay. That's like 3 Honda Fits.
What about the other competitor, the Taycan? That's $190,000 for a Turbo S.
Yeah, that's a Porsche. That's a whole different thing.
It is not the whole different thing.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing because this is a direct competitor to the Model S, and we're already into well into next year before it actually comes out, and we're already at $169,000 for a vehicle that competes with a yet unreleased and unnamed, well, it's named the Plaid version of the Model S. So we don't know, what that vehicle will do, but I suspect it will it will outperform this vehicle.
That's where you're wrong.
All right.
Because, get this,
Yeah.
in the teaser video they released,
Yeah.
there were 3 frames of what looked to be an even faster Lucid Air, with extra aero, extra go-fast goodies, racing a Taycan.
So there's a video of a car that is yet to be built in a factory that's yet to be built out that's faster than a car that actually exists.
Do we know it exists? What are the performance
The
numbers?
Model S actually exists. This does not exist. I can go out and buy a Model S today. This is, once again, Tommy, I got to tell you, with all these electric vehicles, I am getting very tired of manufacturers promising vehicles that don't exist. And I'm talking about Rivian. I'm talking about the Hummer electric vehicle, right? These are all, I would say, pie in the sky until the actual vehicle is for sale in a dealership or someplace where I could actually get behind the wheel. And none of these things actually exist.
Well, let's talk about the company. So a lot of the Lucid engineers are actually ex-Tesla.
Yes, they're all Tesla battery
They
engineers.
are real engineers. This company has a tremendous amount of funding. The CEO, you'll be pleased to find out, Rawlinson, is actually a super down-to-earth guy.
Yeah.
And in interviews, he said, we don't have anything until cars.
And actually agrees, right? He agrees.
Yeah, he agrees. Yeah, but this car will exist. Deliveries are set to start in spring 21, so we're just a few months out from the first customers taking delivery of their Airs. This is a seriously impressive vehicle. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be Tesla. I mean, people have been saying this is a Tesla killer. That's been happening for the last 12 years now. But it is a very impressive vehicle, and I think in a lot of ways it is cooler than the Model S. Now, let's talk about some of the styling cues.
Okay, go for it. You know what strikes me about it?
What?
It looks the same coming and going.
It's a little weird. Yeah, it looks like a boulder fell on a Kia K5, if I'm being
or
honest.
an Optima, if you're.
Yeah, if you're more familiar with the Optima. Yeah, it's a little pancakey.
Yeah.
But it is pretty cool in some of its technology. So take a look at the rear end, right?
Okay, yeah.
Rather than having just a traditional trunk or a hatchback, it has like this portal. So like the whole butt of the vehicle kind of hinges out of the way, and you can put stuff inside of it. It just kind of encompasses your luggage like that. I think it's pretty cool.
I agree, that is pretty cool.
It also has a massive front trunk.
Yep.
And, it's an interesting design. Like, I don't think it's particularly beautiful, but I think people out there are going to be pretty into it.
Now, Zach wrote largest frunk of any electric car.
Massive front. Yeah, it's huge.
Now we're judging electric cars by the size of the front.
It also, get this, let's talk about the charging. Lucid is saying up to 300 miles of range gained in just 20 minutes. So it's supposed to have the fastest charging of any electric vehicle offered.
Yeah, well, that of course depends on two things, right? You're well aware of that, the car and the charger. So while the car doesn't exist, the chargers barely exist, right? The charger that can actually put that much power into a vehicle, because what'll happen is you'll melt the wire going into...
No, get this,
you have to
right.
water cool the handle because it gets so hot.
And they do. Electrify America
It barely has them.
across the country is now implementing 350 kilowatt chargers.
Yeah, barely.
In Greenwood Village, we have like 10 of them. They never work. I mean, they're always broken. But there are 10 of them.
But once again, I'm saying, my old journalism professor used to say, as a journalist, you're supposed to be not cynical. And if you get cynical, it's time to move out of the profession, but skeptical. So I'm always a little skeptical because, look, Tesla did 3 things as a company when it started. And it's been around for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Over 10 years, right? The 3 things, the magic sauce to Tesla, I think, are this. First and foremost, they had a car to sell immediately. Almost immediately, which was a Tesla Roadster. Now, it may have not been, an original Tesla, but you could actually go and buy a Tesla. It was expensive. I grant you that.
Like the Lucid.
Right.
It was also like
it was
150
expensive.
grand. Yeah.
But at the same time, they were selling a real car, right? Which meant that they had a factory to build a real car. They were also building out their own stores. They're not dealers, but their own stores. And they were building out a charging network. So they had a vehicle, they had a way to sell it, and they had a way to charge it. I'm not sure Lucid has any of those 3 things right now.
Well, they have Electrify America to charge them up.
Yeah.
And EVgo. And a bunch of other third-party chargers, which are pretty sketchy right now, but those will get better. Admittedly, the third-party charging network.
Right, what else is cool about this Lucid Air?
Well, the interior,
34-inch curved screen is pretty cool.
The interior is pretty cool. It's a glass cockpit, 5K display.
Yeah.
They're claiming class-leading interior space. It's also supposed to have pretty wicked technology that's made everything really compact, so there's just huge amounts of room in a vehicle where there typically wouldn't be. It also has driver assistance systems, kind of similar to Tesla Autopilots. They're calling it Dream Drive, which is much cooler than full self-driving, by the way. Dream Drive.
Is it at least level 2 autonomy, or is it
32 sensors including cameras, 32 sensors including cameras, radar, and LiDAR, level 2 and level 3 driver assistance features.
So Tesla already got on our butt this week when we published our Model Y Loveland Trials, the world's toughest electric car test, by the way, because they said we were uninformed about full self-driving. So, hey, Teslarati fans, full self-driving isn't even level 2 autonomy. And get this, Tommy, there are 5 levels of autonomy. What kind of marketing, what kind of BS marketing is that? Oh, full self-driving barely makes level 2. You still have to have a driver with his hands resting on the wheel, ready to grab it at any second should something happen, like a Kia maybe jumps into your lane and you don't anticipate it and the car doesn't know what to do. That is so far from actual level 5 autonomy, which actually the full definition of is a car can drive itself at any time in any weather without a driver having to be present behind the wheel at any time. That is full self-driving. What Tesla has is barely level 2. Sorry, that was my rant.
I think you need a Snickers bar, Dad. Oh my goodness. I think
so Teslarati, you are the
breathe. Just breathe. The point here is that it's a little misleading. Currently, it's a little misleading. If you buy full self-driving on a Model S or a Model 3, it's not really full self-driving. But the Lucid looks like it's going to have some really cool technologies coming up ahead.
You know what is full self-driving?
What?
When you drive and I sit in the passenger seat.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to do more of that because you're sounding quite old in this episode, Dad. So let's go over. Let's go over some of the pricing and the trims.
Tommy, skeptical, not cynical.
Yeah, very cynical. Pricing and trims. These prices exclude the $7,500 federal tax credit. Okay. So the first edition is called the Lucid Air Dream Edition. That's the one that's going to be on sale in spring of 21. That's the one that's $169,000.
How are they? What stores, dealerships are they going to be selling?
They have 20 studios they're opening. By the end of 21, there's going to be 20 studios across North America.
Pop-up?
No, they're real deals. They've got service centers. They're going to be studios. They're going to be really cool. Yeah.
After 10 years, Tesla finally opened up the service center near our house. It took them 10 years.
They're a brand new company. Cut them some slack. As you recall, Tesla was kind of a disaster in like 2009. Whatever happened to that service center in Boulder? Do you remember that?
No, it was a dealership.
Yeah, it was a debacle is what it was. It was a debacle.
No, just because Elon's brother lives here, he decided to open up a store.
And then they immediately closed it. He opened up a store because he got this massive tax incentive, and then that went away. He's
only $42,000 from the state.
Freaking massive tax incentive. Anyway, so $169,000 for the Lucid Air Dream Edition. The next one that's going on sale is called the Grand Touring. That's going to start at $139,000. So we're inching our way down to
when is that one going?
3 Series levels. Yep.
Okay.
On sale mid-21. That's going to be the one with the 517 mile range. Then there's the Lucid Air Touring. That's late 21.
Yep.
That's going to cost $95,000. And then the base Lucid Air starts below $80,000. Not going on sale until 2022. There's no range or performance numbers on that one, but we can wait a little bit for that one because the first edition, it's very expensive, but it looks very impressive.
You know, first of all, building a $170,000 electric car that does 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds, actually quarter mile. Sorry, no, it's 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, and over 1,000 horsepower. I grant you is impressive, but I would say that, you know, with the recent news we've been hearing out of China, where GM has actually now become the most popular electric car company with their partnership with a Chinese company that actually sells affordable electric cars, I think that's where I would be positioning my company if I had, you know, an electric car company. So I'm really going to be skeptical about a vehicle that costs this much. That you know, is heading into an economy that, you know, has been ravaged by COVID. So yeah, I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little old manny, but you know, I'll see it when I see it. When I can actually put my hands and my butt behind the wheel, then I will say you guys have done something. But until it actually exists, until you can actually go to a store and buy it, I'm going to always be skeptical.
4 months.
No. On sale starting spring of 2021. That's not 4 months.
That's 4 months. It's already September.
Spring
October,
of 2021.
November, December, January.
February, March, April, May, June.
That's fall.
That's spring.
That's not.
Second
that's
quarter.
summer.
Second quarter.
Well, we'll see.
And will you be surprised if that gets pushed all of a sudden to third
Yes,
quarter?
I will,
or fourth
because
quarter?
these guys have some pretty cool stuff going. And let's talk about that little affordable GM that you brought up.
Right.
It's $4,000.
Yes, it's
Any
great.
guess on the battery capacity?
I don't know,
It's
10 kilowatt
Yeah,
hours.
9 kilowatt hours. It's basically a shoebox.
Yeah.
There's going to be would never pass safety requirements here in the U.S. because it's basically a shoebox. No one would buy it in the U.S. because it's basically a shoebox.
That's what built Ford, the Model T. It was an affordable, every
Lucid will
man,
get
woman
there.
car, not one that starts at $169,000 in a year.
Lucid is following the Tesla model. Tesla came out with this crazy $150,000 car that people were like, oh, no one's going to buy that. And then they came out with the Model S, which was like $100 grand. People were like, oh, no one's going to buy that. And then they came out with the Model 3, which was $40 grand. And then all of a sudden, people started
bought it.
buying like
so why
crazy.
don't these guys come out with
Because they can't
a
do
small,
that.
affordable
There's
crossover?
no money in affordable EVs, especially for a
I
startup.
think even Lucid knows that they messed up
No.
because even they're hinting at the fact that
That you
there's
have-
an SUV coming on the
There
same
is, yeah,
chassis.
they have hinted at the SUV. You have to build up the volume before you can build an affordable car. These startups, they don't have the volume right off the bat. They have to price them high, but they have to make it impressive.
You know, here's a secret that a lot of you probably out there know, right? You think that like the biggest and most popular and the most richest car companies are like Ferrari or Bugatti. They're not. They're teeny tiny little companies in the ecosystem of the automotive world because they sell little volume, right? Tiny volume. You can make a lot more money selling a lot of cars or trucks than you do selling a few very expensive ones.
But if-
that's the way you succeed in the auto business.
If you are a startup, you can't come out of the gate selling 400,000 F-150s. You just can't do it. It's not feasible.
So if you want one of these, what do you do?
Well, you go to Lucid. There's a $1,000 refundable deposit to put your name down.
Not for the Dream Edition.
For the Lucid Air, $1,000
But
refundable.
not for the Dream Edition. It's
No.
$7,500.
Well, that's the first one. If you want to be first in a Lucid, you got to get the Dream Edition.
$7,500.
But like we said, there's also an SUV that we have seen kind of spied in some woods testing. No specific information, but I think we're going to see that soon.
Look, I think Tesla is, positioned in a much stronger place right now. They've got, not just one Dream Edition, but they've actually got 4 models that they're now selling.
They're also 11 years old.
And by the time this one comes out, or shortly after, there'll be a Cybertruck, which you have to admit is, probably the most popular electric vehicle debut ever. Right? People have lost their you-know-what over it.
Last thing I'm going to say, it is very cool, the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Lucid is brand new. Give them 11 years. I'm sure if they're allowed to have like $15 billion of debt like Tesla's had over the last 11 years, they can do something pretty cool too. They're a brand new company. Let's give them some time to kind of get through the expensive
And
phase.
if we're talking about performance, I've got 2 words. Only 2 words for you.
What?
Okay. Roadster rockets.
That's not a sedan.
They're gonna have a Roadster with rockets. What more do I need to say?
I love you, but
rockets.
There's like this thing that I think we get stuck in where we consider because everything's EV, they all compete with each other. The Roadster with the rockets competes with the Cybertruck, which
The rockets. What else do you have to say?
That's not
rockets.
right.
It's got freaking rockets.
You wouldn't
It's like sharks
Dad,
with laser beams.
You wouldn't compare a Challenger Hellcat to an S-Class. That would be silly. So why are you doing it in the EV world?
I'm just saying-
It's this backwards thought that people get stuck in. Just because it's an EV doesn't mean that you don't have to
I'm
forget
just
about
saying,
competition.
if you're worried about performance, not only is
No, you're wrong.
the Plaid coming, which is a tri-motor, by the way, right? But there's a car coming with rockets. So that's why you're wrong, and that's why I'm right. Let us know
500 grand with rockets. Woo!
in the comments
Hey,
below.
talk about a car that doesn't exist, Dad.
Flamethrowers.
Oh my God.
He built flamethrowers, dude.
All right, check out tflcar.com for the latest and greatest in new gas and EV reviews. I promise that I am right on this and you're wrong.
All
This is
right.
going to be a cool car.
Classic journalist ending. Time will tell.